The government is consolidating a number of systems and registries to streamline dealing with companies and other entities, and to make it more difficult for dodgy operators to fool the system. The Director ID is the first stage of the Australian Business Registry Program. By ensuring every company director has a single ID, they can make it easier to register new companies and to ensure that banned directors don't continue to set up new companies in place of old ones. A Director ID is an individual number for each director. It's 14 digits long and starts with 036, which is the Australian International Standard Country Code. Even if you stop being a director of one company, if you become director of another, you will have the same number. It will make it easier to identify the directors of companies and the linkages between the directors of multiple companies. If there's an issue with one company, the regulators will be able to investigate any related companies to those directors. At the moment, company director registration has been fairly simple, and the information provided has not necessarily been verified. This will make it harder for dodgy operators to set up companies after being disqualified or to hide their operations. Every company director will need to register for a Director ID. This includes the directors of large corporates plus small companies, from BHP to the cafe down the road. This also includes the directors of companies that act as trustee for family trusts, self-managed super funds and other trusts. It also includes directors of not-for-profits who have a company structure as opposed to associations and other entities. In 2020, there were 2.8 million companies registered in Australia, so there are easily over 1 million directors needing to register for IDs, which is why the system is so automated. This process is now the law. Directors who don't have IDs by the end of November 2022 will face penalties, and for members of super funds it could lead to issues with the tax treatment of their retirement savings. Under the old system, it was still possible for incorrect information to be provided, either deliberately or accidentally, leading to the opportunity for some questionable individuals to give wrong information, and in some situations a place of birth could be misspelt or incorrectly entered. The main issue here is to stop phoenixing, which is the process of stripping a company of assets so it can't pay its debts, and then starting a new company to do the same job, starting afresh and leaving the creditors of the first company to miss out. All company directors must be registered by the 30th of November 2022. For directors who have first become a company director from the 1st of November 2021, they have 4 weeks to complete the process and have their company register their ID number. From the 4th of April 2022, any new directors will need to register for a Director ID before they can become a director of an Australian company. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander corporations have another year to complete the process, as they are set up under a different act. To register for a Director ID, you first need a MyGov ID. It's an app for a smartphone or tablet that produces a login verification, like the text message you get from the bank if you make an internet transfer. Many people already have a MyGov ID for access to the business portal. Many people set up MyGov IDs to register for JobKeeper or to lodge their monthly JobKeeper reports. If you already have a MyGov ID, you can go straight to logging into the Australian Business Registry Services website to apply for an ID. Otherwise, you need to follow the instructions to set up your MyGov ID first. There is a paper version, but it requires certified copies of documents and it takes a lot longer to be processed.